They call him the richest Croat, a capable businessman, the shipbuilding industry savior.
Nemam namjeru da odustanem.
He helps football clubs.
Jer za Istru me veže i poslovno i privatno zadovoljstvo.
But his name also ties to international scandals. Danko Končar is one of dozens of figures in the South African money laundering affair. This man was the first to talk about it, and only to us in front of the TV camera.
Strah me nije. Nije me strah. Šta je bilo, bilo je. Samo je ovaj trenutak postoji. Ne postoji ni prošlost, ni budućnost.
Once Miodrag was Danko Končar's right hand, a person of his great trust.
Je on mene predstavljao kao čovjeka, kao Danka Končara u Južnoj Africi.
In 2005, Končar with his company Kermas became the majority owner of the Samancor mining company, the world's second largest producer of chromite and ferrochrome. His distant cousin, Mr. Kon, became one of his directors. He received the same emails as Končar. He had an insight into classified documents. They went together to some secret meetings. He was familiar with Končar many jobs and knew how to hide money from sales.
Prva od tih stvari koja je meni upala u oči je slučaj sa biznismenom koji je pokušavao da napravi nekakav deal sa Končarem. Ponudio mu je da osnuju novu firmu i način da izvuku određena dobit iz jedne firme koju će osnovati nezavisno i potpuno van Samancora.
We met with a whistleblower in a country near Croatia. His location doesn't know even the court because of the eventual influence and the threats. He immediately explains to us how Samancor did business. He sold the products to customers through an offshore company with a similar name, Samchrom, for a charge. Details of that deal remain, he says, hidden from smaller shareholders.
Na tom ugovoru stoji da Samchrom ima pravo da ostvari 9% od prodaje roba, svih roba koje idu preko njega. A to znači uključuje sve robe koje Samancor proizvodi.
Malta, one of the world's tax heavens, paradise for those who want to hide real traffic, evade, reduce taxes, launder or draw money. The directors from Samancor set up an offshore company there. A journalist from South African research newspaper investigated that company.
They created a marketing company based in Malta, and they gave this company exclusive rights to market the chrome wool. Now, that company was called Samchrome, and Samchrome was not owned by Samancor Chrome, it was in fact owned by Končar, which is a massive conflict of interest. I mean, he is earning a fee for marketing the product of a company he represents.
To explain exactly what was done at Samancor's offshore company in Malta, Miodrag makes a money draw scheme. First, he explains that the company was at one point divided into 3 shareholders. The largest part was owned by Končar's Kermas, then an IMR company and unions. Then he describes how the sale went.
Sama roba iz Samancora je išla direktno kupcima u inostranstvo, a Samancor je fakturisao Samchromu Malta određeni iznos, a u ovoj šemi je predstavljeno to kao $1 milijarda. Nakon primanja te fakture, Samchrom Malta je fakturisao kupcima za iznos od $1,090 miliona. Kupci su plaćali taj iznos od $1,090 miliona Samchromu, a Samchrom je po fakturi koju je dobio od Samancora plaćao $1 milijardu. Naravno, pojavlja se tu ostatak od $90 miliona.
It was split, he says, between Končar's Kermas and the IMR, and so it wasn't just small shareholders, South African unions and workers that were damaged, but the state also.
Sve ove razlike koje su ostvarene i koje su realizovane u inostranstvu, Samancor je trebao da plati, odnosno oni koji su, Samancor je trebao da plati 28% poreza.
He estimates that the directors have drawn about $500 million in 5 years.
We have managed to find some South African players who've provided more documentation, kind of shows the inner workings of Samancor Chrome at the time. And we've also managed to track down quite a bit of financial documentation that shows you how the multi-system worked.
And whistleblower Con is backed up by the emails and financial statements of Samancor and Samcrom showing the difference in income.
Za 2007. godinu je bilo negde $147 miliona ostvarena razlika.
Not only transactions in Malta were disputed, but also the sale of shares of a Samancor company to a Chinese state-owned company. For that sale, Samancor was supposed to get $225 million, but all the money didn't end up in the company's accounts, he says.
Sajnost je platio Samancoru $100 miliona, a $125 miliona je završilo na računima Kermasa, odnosno Danka Končara.
And there's evidence for this claim, emails that the bank sent to the company.
Banka obaveštava da su 75 miliona i 25 miliona pristigli na račun Samancora, da bi sljedećeg dana ili dan posle toga obavestili da je na računu Kermasa u Londonu odobreno $125 miliona. Time nisu sva sredstva stigla Samancoru, već je to jedan veći deo je pripao Končaru.
All the evidence Miodrag Kon collected when he left the company in 2010, he took with him when he first met with this lawyer. The lawyer represents the Mining and Metallurgical Union. It was 2015. The evidence has been analyzed. The conclusion was that the whistleblower was credible. A 200-page lawsuit has been filed and sent to Samantha and the High Court in Johannesburg. A total of 20 former and current directors are suspected of extracting the money.
At this stage, we don't know who was involved in the transactions and who is entirely innocent. We believe conservative estimates are that 1.9 billion United States dollars was taken out of Samancor.
The Samancor doesn't recognize this union, and the whistleblower was called malicious and opportunistic for seeking compensation for the information he gave if the union gets the money back.
I think Mr. Kon is in this for all the right reasons. He believes that an injustice was done and he wants to fix it. But even if he's opportunistic and even if he's doing this for the finances, he will only receive any compensation if his allegations are true. And if up to 1.9 billion US dollars was taken out of Samancor and taken away from workers and from the South African tax base, if he gets some compensation, more power to him, in my view.
They announced from Samancor their own investigation. To find out if it's finished and what the results are, we sent an email to Samancor. They didn't answer us, neither did the High Court in Johannesburg. The lawyer says they are translating the document into multiple languages and that they plan to send it to the directors' addresses. We're calling Danko Končar. He said he's currently in South Africa. When asked about the union's lawsuit, he said it was not a lawsuit, but a file seeking additional evidence from the court. He denied everything a whistleblower puts on him. He says he wants to destroy him.
Razgovarali smo jednom Konu. Možete mi poručiti da jednostavno svakoj laži je kratak, znate, korak.
Proizvodi Samancora iz Južnoafričke republike išli su preko Malte, preko te tvrtke. 9% koja je bila provizija, optužuje se vas da ste taj novac preusmjerili djelomično prema Kermasu.
Mislim, to su gluposti.
He says he inherited the job and that the central bank approved a 9% commission, and he denied that some of the money from the Chinese company ended up in his account.
Što se mene tiče, sve knjige su na raspolaganju, ja mirno spavam.
This is a lawsuit seeking two things. The first is the court's permission for the union to act on behalf of all the beneficiaries, all the workers at Samancor. The second thing is seeking an accounting of all profits made from these transactions so that when the lawsuit proceeds to claim the funds, that there's a very clear picture of exactly how much money has been taken out of Samancor.
Končar came out from Samancor in 2009. and the disputed company in Malta was eventually shut down and books closed.
What is telling is that after he wound down his interest here in Semenko, he went to Finland and started a new business there. It was called Ruki. He changed the name to Afarak. He also started using intermediary companies for that in Malta.
Afarak also surfaced in the Panama Papers affair.
Deseci imena tvrtki i adrese iz Hrvatske našli su se u objavljenoj bazi podataka dosjea Panama.
So the money we know went to Malta, and from Malta it went to the British Virgin Islands. From there there's no way really of knowing. It could be in Dubai, it could be in London, it could be in Croatia. You really can't tell.
In Istria, Končar has many companies that bear the name Kermas. They're engaged in a variety of activities. Some are also owned in Malta. Behind them is him and the immediate relatives. In many cases, they don't have employees. In 2018, one single-employee company achieved a turnover of 150 million kuna. In Croatia, Danko Končar is the savior of altering companies. And in South Africa, one of those suspected by the Union of extracting money. Does anyone check the money he rescued us with? Secret services? The government? To that question, we didn't get an answer.